All right, so this is a 97 Cobra with the B heads. Things you need to watch out for when you're putting this on. This vacuum line that goes to the fuel pressure regulator. You cannot get that on once the supercharger's on. You have to put this line on first. If you don't, it's really, really difficult to get it in there. You can, but you have to cut the elbow in half, and I just don't trust it. So another thing, I bought this car in pieces, and I had to put it back together. I've never put this on before, so I put it on the first time, and started it up. It revved up to 3,000, then it died. So once it did that, I drove it. It drove halfway decent, but it had a major vacuum leak, boost leak. So all of those Allens right there, those are quarter 20 bolts. Now they bolt into the open house manifold. So the threads in the open house manifold were full of the red anaerobic sealant, but it was dry and hot as a rock. So those bolts would only go in maybe a quarter of an inch and then bottom out. So they weren't really touching the plate on the supercharger. So I was torquing them down to the 120 inch-pounds, but it really wasn't torquing the supercharger down. It was just torquing all the junk in the bottom of those threads to 120 pounds. So everywhere I sprayed starting fluid, brake fluid around everywhere, it would rev up. And then I'd use a smoke machine, and smoke was just pouring out of everywhere. The back of the supercharger, around everywhere. You couldn't tell, you couldn't pinpoint one spot. So I didn't know that's what it was. I ended up buying new IMRC gaskets from Felpro, uppers and lowers. And when I pulled it apart, my old gaskets didn't look that bad because they are reusable. But I replaced them anyway, because why not? I have brand new ones. It's in pieces. So I did that. And then for all of those bolts, I used a pick, an air compressor, and I used a quarter 20 tap with a lot of oil on it so I didn't recut threads. And I would just run the tap in and out. And they go down probably about an inch and a half into that open house manifold. You only want like a quarter inch of the bolt, maybe an eighth of an inch of the bolt thread sticking out after, because the plate is that thick, as you can see. And then I didn't have washers for these. So you see how there's washers on there now? I used 6mm zinc washers from Home Depot, because those are the only washers that will fit through these holes right here in the back. If you don't use the 6mm zinc ones, quarter inch washers are generally a big washer, and it won't fit through that hole. There's no lock washers on it or anything like that. And then on the inside of this blower, there's the two that go through the manifold into the IMRCs. I used the black Tough Stuff RTV sealant to seal those, and I put thread locker on the control box for the IMRCs, because I still have my IMRCs hooked up. Some people have deletes, but I don't. I bought the car the way it is. It already had a tune. If I was going to get it tuned, I probably would delete the IMRCs and upgrade to 42-pound or bigger injectors, different fuel pump, stuff like that. But it's tuned the way it is. I want to be able to drive the car, so I just put it together the way it was, and now it drives beautiful. And that is just, hopefully it can help somebody out if they're running into the same type of problem. Thank you.